So as you can see from these examples, understanding the difference between denotation and connotation is important to understanding definitions and how concepts are used. Unfortunately, that's a little bit complicated by the fact that these terms can be used in different ways and in different contexts. And a lot of times it depends on the individual and their experience with a word as far as how they're going to perceive it. One thing that if you're taking one of my classes, you've probably learned already about the communication model. And I've got, if you just have a look at it here, what I'm talking about is the field of experience. And the field of experience is each individual, anytime there's a kind of communication happening, you have the sender, you have the receiver, and the message that's being sent. For instances of this video, we're talking about English for academic purposes, so your message is probably going to be your written paper. Now, if someone's reading a paper, for example, on abortion, this is sort of a popular hot topic among undergraduate students. If you're reading a paper about abortion, you might already have emotionally charged feelings about that topic. And those feelings are probably based on not only your political beliefs, but also your personal experience, people that are around you, where you grew up, your religion. All of those different things can affect your field of experience. And what happens then is your intended meaning may not be the same meaning that is received. This can be a little bit complicated when you're writing persuasive essays, and also when you're writing something like a summary critique, where you're going to be using a lot of evaluative language. So if there's misunderstandings about how a person is using a word, a primary source of that misunderstanding might lie in the word's connotations. People might be seeing something not intended, or the speaker might be intending something people don't see. So this is the intention versus perception that can cause communication breakdown in the communication model. For these reasons, it's really important when you're constructing your own arguments or when you're writing an academic essay, not merely to look at what your words denote. So look out for the Microsoft Word Quick Thesaurus and Dictionary. That's just not enough for making educated decisions about the types of words to insert into an essay. You also have to think about what those words connote. So we're going to have a look at a sample here. And you can see I've put these words on a continuum of meaning. So we have negative, neutral, and positive. And you'll notice all three of these expressions refer to exactly the same group of people, but they invoke different associations in the reader's mind. A vagrant, for example, is a public nuisance, while someone who is homeless is someone that you might feel sorry for. So when you say there are over 2,000 vagrants in the city, I think of people who are, constantly in the way, asking me for money every time I walk by, and might be something that's annoying, might be something that's sort of making the city look ugly. But when I think of over 2,000 homeless people in the city, then, I want to go to the shelter and make them some sandwiches and some soup and help out and, tell me what I can do to make these people's lives better. So you can see the same exact group of people, but we're invoking a very different perception for our receiver, depending on the type of words that we're going to use. On the other hand, if you were taking a very research approach, a very unbiased approach to this topic, you might say something like there's over 2,000 people with no fixed address. And in that way, you've avoided saying vagrants, which is negative, or homeless, which is positive. But at the same time, you have to think critically about what your purpose is, because what you've done here is you've sort of circumvented, you've gone all the way around any positive or negative associations, and it almost becomes a sort of legalese awkward construction, because you can see how many words here it took us to say the same thing. With no fixed address, you've got 4 words there, and then here vagrants, homeless, we have one, and so that then you can start running into issues with deadwood, or with sentences that contain many, many more words than you actually need to have. So what I'd like to do now is give you a chance to practice this. I've got 3 sets of words. What I'd like to do now is give you a chance to practice this. I've got 3 sets of words. So what I'm going to do is ask you to pause the video and have a look at this set of words and put them in order, from negative to neutral to positive. See if you can categorize them. And then once you've done that, go ahead and play the video again. I'll show you my answer, and then I'll show you the next set of words for all 3 sets of words. Again, make sure you do pause the video so that way you don't see my answers before you have a chance to work. So go ahead and press pause now. Okay, so now you've had a chance to look at this, and I'm going to just go to the next slide here. Now, I have put these in order according to my native speaker intuition, and you could probably get 3 Americans in the room who would all have a little bit different meaning, but I imagine they would be pretty close to the same type of order. You have to remember that my associations with these words also contain my field of experience. So depending on your field of experience, your connotations, your associations with these words might vary slightly. However, you'll find in any given culture, the set of words is going to be pretty much the same as whether it's really negative or positive in meaning. So have a look at this, and then if you need to pause and look at it longer, I'm going to go ahead and now go on to the next set of words. So if you would pause the video now and see if you can put these in order. Okay, now you've had a chance to do that. I'm going to go ahead and show you my answers, and you can see I've put the words in order here. One word that I had a little bit of difficulty classifying was aggressive, because when I think of the word aggressive, I think a lot of it is going to depend on culture. You think about American business culture, you might think of the word aggressive, and it's got a very positive, strong associations. You think of someone who's aggressive in sales, that must mean that they're very good at it. In sports, you think of someone who's aggressive and they're going to be a really good player, but at the same time, in relationships, you might think of someone who's aggressive, and that could be a negative thing. Aggressive is also a word that you might use when thinking of people in prison fighting. So you can see that that word I had a little bit of difficulty classifying. Okay, and we can have a look at the 3rd set of words now. So if you want to pause the video and take a moment to try to put these in order. Okay, and let's have a look at my answers. You can see there were several that I put in the neutral positive category. Anytime you think of someone as being intelligent, or a lot of these words that are affiliated with it, even going into egghead and cunning, there is a bit of positiveness to it, because being smart, hey, it's a good thing, right? But when you think of egghead, that does invoke a little bit more of a negative connotation. Someone who's very, very smart but has no social skills. Someone that, you know, maybe you don't want to be friends with. Now, what's interesting about this word, and I haven't taken the time to look up its history, but when you think about egghead, I would say in the 50s, in the 40s, maybe into the 60s and 70s as well, you think of the word egghead and it would have much more negative connotations. However, I would say into the 90s, and especially now in this century, egghead, being a dork, being a geek, is a much more positive thing. And so even words like dork or geek that you might have, you know, decades ago thought of as being a bad thing and someone you didn't want to be friends with, now you think about all the shows on TV, something like The Big Bang Theory, they really make being an egghead cool. So you can see how, field of experience can have a big effect on connotation and also culture as well.